How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein. He's one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. Well, we've warned you.
You have been warned. Welcome to Frankenstein Minute. This is Minute 0. This is our introduction podcast where we're going to talk about... Come closer?
Closer.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
All right. Should I start over?
No.
All right.
This is fascinating stuff. Throw this gold away.
So, you've stumbled upon Frankenstein Minute, where we're going to discuss the Universal Frankenstein films in excruciating detail, 1 minute at a time.
You said dissect earlier, which
dissect.
I think is a great...
Yes,
yeah.
We are here to dissect the Frankenstein films. I'm Bill Evenson.
And I'm Thom Lang.
And who are you, Thom
Who
Lang?
am I? I'm nobody that anybody cares about. Well, I am an artist, sculptor, illustrator, filmmaker. For 3 years, about 100 years ago, I had a local television show, Horror Incorporated, where we showed the best that Poverty Row has to offer. Lots of Bella, lots of Monogram PRC, and, did our little antics in between. The old school horror host. Thanks, Fenguli. Or don't, that's up to you.
Or who are the other ones? Does Elvira
count?
Count?
She's about 100, but I think she still does it.
Yeah.
There's some on. I don't get the channel, but there's a retro channel. They have some hosts on there too, apparently.
Okay.
And I think on public domain, there's a handful around.
Okay. So that was local in the Minneapolis metro.
St. Paul. Yeah, we would on average get 20,000 households watching a week. Clearly had nothing better to do with their lives. They were insomniacs, alcoholics, the haunted. They were basically, that was our audience.
Yep. And they would write you letters telling you so? Because back then you had to write a letter.
Well, it was internet. I mean, it was 2002, so it wasn't, wasn't like it was the 50s.
You weren't getting tweeted.
We were getting tweeted, and there was no Facebook, but we had Yahoo Group.
That's right.
Which people got in touch with us via that.
That's cool.
So we got some good feedback. I was actually hoping to get hate mail, and we never really did, because I wanted to read it on the air. And I'm very disappointed that I never did.
Never got any hate mail.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to
hear that. So if you hated us, let me know.
Hey, this is why we're doing this,
right?
We're looking forward to the hate mail.
Keep it coming. Keep those cards and letters coming, folks. And yourself.
Yeah. I'm Bill Evenson. I'm just a guy. You may know me from some Doctor Who podcasts. I'm frequently on Reality Bomb, and I used to be on a podcast with some friends called The Others, which seems to be on hiatus. We haven't done one of those in quite some time.
So when does the hiatus become it's over?
When you have to die. That's
there's no term
dead.
Limits on.
That's the term limit.
Okay,
you have to die. Once everyone involved dies, actually that doesn't even work because someone could resurrect it in your absence.
Sure.
So no, hiatus is indefinite.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Anyway, so we are going to talk about Frankenstein. What's your experience with Frankenstein?
Being a child of the late 60s, early 70s, I kind of came in at the not the tail end, probably the midsection of the wonderful monster craze that, gave birth to things like Famous Monsters of Filmland. The Munsters, Addams Family, those were always on when I was a kid. There were toys. You could go to the Ben Franklin. There we go. Yeah. I'm about 100 years old, if you can't tell. I go to the Ben Franklin.
Is Ben Franklin a local thing? Would people know what that is? I don't know.
It was like a Woolworth's, kind of a nickel dime. What do they call it? A dime store.
Yeah.
My grandparents call it a dime store. But you could go and get the Aurora, glow in the dark monster model kits from they licensed the Universal.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween, you could get the Don Post masks. I could never, they were like $30, and it seemed absolutely unapproachable. don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Famous Monsters of Filmland was out at the time and still pretty good. Kind of fell apart towards the late 70s. But a lot of monster things did. Thank you, George Lucas.
Yeah.
And Castle of Frankenstein was around, but that I had to hunt for. I mean, would find it at we'd go up north and it'd be Woolworths in Bemidji or something like that. But and then what solidified it were the You'll Die Laughing creature feature cards, which were little tops cards with the absolutely indigestible gum. You'd break your teeth or cut your gums on it because there's a little shard of plastic masquerading.
Yeah, why was there gum?
I don't know.
What was
I
the point of the
think
gum?
they legally must have had some reason because.
Well, this is a food stuff.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we
can sell it in the gas
fell under the
station.
FDA.
Yeah, there you go, the FDA.
Yeah. Although I don't know how healthy it was to actually consume this product.
I think that there must not be gum because you can still get those
You
cards.
can still get the
like
cards,
if you go to
but-
Target, there's a row of
right,
stuff.
yeah, they're in the Mylar now. I don't think they have gum
think
anymore
there's gum
because
anymore.
they probably killed some people.
Probably true. It was a weapon.
Yeah, but they would have a still from the Shock and Son of Shock packages, which were the issues of the Universal horrors and stuff that introduced baby boomers in 1958 to these movies on television. And there'd be a still, usually doctored up. I don't know for legal reasons or whatever. Somebody else's face pasted over Lugosi as Igor or some goofy thing with a really lame joke underneath. You see that still, the memes of people putting, you don't see the air quotes, but lame jokes underneath a photo. Yeah. Is that, and then on the back would be a really bad joke.
That's pretty much all I do usually.
Do you? Is that
just
what
put
you-
lame jokes
Okay,
on the photos. Or
We've come to the right place.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the thing that really sealed it is the Snyder's. There was this, I forget the name of the company, something Hamway, Anzac Hamway, licensed the.
It's a great name.
It is. No, I think that's it. They licensed the Universal monsters for little 8-inch action figures.
Right.
And I saw the Frankenstein one day going down there to get a comic book. It was love at first sight.
Yeah.
And these things sold for $2-3, and now they're $200-300 on eBay.
Sure.
Of course, I played mine to death, so I don't have them anymore.
You actually beat it to death.
I did.
Did you cut it up?
No, I should have. Never thought of that. I actually think
you didn't dissect.
I did not
the
dissect the Frankenstein. I think I still have the head of some of them.
Really?
The Dracula and a Frankenstein. I think I still have the little heads. Yeah.
I'm guessing they don't look anything like the.
No, they were good.
little bit.
They used the same molds, I think, as the Aurora model kits.
Oh, okay.
So they were a good sculpt.
Cool.
And then in the 70s, 73 this would have been, I believe, there was the original Horror Incorporated ran on Friday nights here in the Twin Cities on KSDP. And I came into, saw on TV Guide, House of Frankenstein. That was my introduction. Not real proud of it, but it could have been worse. Could have been House of Dracula.
Could have been.
Oh,
no
see,
love for House of
No,
Dracula.
there's love. There's love. Actually, I think it's actually more interesting than House of
I
Frankenstein.
think what's worse than that. Actually, I guess you can go any direction.
Yeah. Captive
I mean, some of
Wild
those
Woman
later-
or
Well, anyway, we're not here to trash
Mummies
the
too.
Universal
No.
movies.
Don't misunderstand. We love these films.
Yeah, definitely.
And yourself.
And I come to it from most specifically, my introduction to Frankenstein would have to be Young Frankenstein. When I was a kid, that movie, I don't know how on earth we were watching it. I don't know if we had a VCR when I was a kid, but I feel like we wouldn't have had one.
So when you say kid, what year are you?
I don't know. I mean, it would have been mid '70s, so I would have been 5, 6, 7 years old.
Okay, because it came out in '75.
Yeah, so I can't imagine we had a VCR, but maybe we did. I mean, I know we used to get a VCR from the library.
Oh yeah.
My mom worked at the library. My mom was a librarian, so we would get a VCR and tapes. So I'm sure.
Well, I don't
Young
think they were
Frankenstein was part of
commercially
that.
available until the
Yeah.
early '80s.
Right.
So
I
Was
can't
it- would it
imagine
have been
where I
a-
was.
a
Maybe we
TV
just went and saw it, or what did they show it on
they
TV?
would have
in
shown
the
it on
70s?
TV as like probably '78.
Yeah, that's probably
something
true.
like
So
that.
78, I would have been. Now I'm going to reveal how old I am.
Well, I already
78, I was 8 years old.
Gave away that I was 100.
Yeah, that's
so.
true. You're 100. I'm a little less than that. So that's my main first introduction to Young Frankenstein. Although when I think about it, I definitely had an awareness of who Bela Lugosi was. He was the scariest guy in the world, and he lived under my bed. I actually have vivid memories of him popping his head out from under my bed. I don't know why he would behave like that, but that was something he used to do.
Nowadays you could file a lawsuit.
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was probably just looking for morphine down there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A little Demerol chaser.
Yeah. So then what happens for me then after that is I became a Mystery Science Theater fan, and I noticed when I would watch Mystery Science Theater, I preferred those black and white movies that are sort of in that same style, Bride of the Monster, and it sort of sparked this idea for me that I'm interested in that kind of film. And I remember going to a video store. I think it would have to be the mid '90s, and buying a VHS tape of Son of Frankenstein. The cover with Basil Rathbone.
Yep.
What has he got on his head?
I forget what it's called.
Light?
It's one of those things that doctors wear on TV. I don't know if they ever actually wore one in real life. That would
it's like a light, right? Or is it a mirror?
It would reflect
light
back on the patient. They would look through the hole in the center.
And right in that circle is the monster and Igor.
Yeah.
And that cover, I remember grabbing that and bringing it home.
It's kind of purplish, right?
Oh boy,
I think so. I think I still have
it anymore.
I still have boxes full
of your tapes.
The whole run, not everything. The only thing I saved was the Universal Monsters.
Well, see,
because the packaging was so great.
Yeah, you know what? I was about to kind of gently mock you until you said that, and it reminds me. I'm sure I've got my original Star Wars widescreen VHS. When that came out, it was like, and the packaging isn't all that great.
No, it's not. But the thing. We'll diverge a little bit, but the thing about those is that aren't they the original edit? They're not the special edition. So
and I think it maybe even said on the box, "This is the last time you'll be able to get in this edition."
Yeah, so you have the laser discs of those.
That's the laser. I think it's the same
laser
time.
disc. Yeah,
I didn't have laser discs then, but I remember, when I would get my DVDs. So when the Universal films came out on DVD, I'd give my VHS to somebody.
Oh yeah,
and I got the Blu-rays, and I gave the DVD to somebody.
Yeah, I would do that with most things. The monsters I saved.
Yeah.
Because I just
I do have
the artwork was so great that I kept them. Yeah.
I have an affection for those boxes.
Yeah. Well, see, when I was growing up, they were on TV a lot. Mm-hmm. Throughout the '70s, they would show up all the time. We had a guy here in town. I think he just passed away a couple years ago. This guy, Timothy D. Kerr, who must have had a deal with KSTP or something.
Okay.
And would show, it'd be like a Friday night at 11:30, after the Tonight Show or whatever was on.
Yeah.
I know specifically he did Bride of Frankenstein, and then he would come on and do a little, sort of horror host, but he didn't do any get up. It was just him. Little trivia about the movie and stuff. And I know one time he got something wrong. So I called the station and actually talked to him, and he blew me off. Like, who's this kid? Get the fuck away from me! But so they were on TV.
What year would that have been?
That'd have been late '70s,
okay.
79, 80, something like that. And they were on here till about '85, I would say, when cable really started to take over. Mm-hmm. And then Universal must have realized what a cash cow they had, because video sales by then would have indicated too. Mm-hmm. And they became sort of the exclusive domain of cable. AMC, things like that. So local stations couldn't touch them anymore. And we did Horror Incorporated. It would have been 2 years worth of budget to lease these things. So
not to name any names.
Not to name any names, you know who you are. That was. But as I was growing up, it was the zeitgeist. There were commercials would have Frankenstein or King Kong or whatever in them, and of course, certainly in '76 with the remake of King Kong, that was everywhere. So monsters were my childhood. Yeah. Monsters and Bugs Bunny basically were. That was me growing up, and sad to say, 50-some years later, I haven't changed a bit.
Yeah, how is the tattoo? Is it healing?
It's healing.
Oh, you're
it's
still
a little gruesome, but it's healing.
Really nice looking.
Oh yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah.
So all of you out there listening will know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So the thing that happened for me was that Son of Frankenstein VHS, and then
But you had seen them prior.
I had seen them here and there, but I hadn't no
not
great
been
affection for
a
them.
student or
It was definitely not. But what happened with me with Son of Frankenstein was when I realized that, had no idea that so much of Young Frankenstein is based on what actually happens in Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You know, the darts and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And so,
which,
that was
now it's
amazing
impossible to watch that scene in Son of Frankenstein without laughing at it.
Yeah, exactly.
And to some extent, the same goes for Bride with the hermit, and we'll touch upon that in 2 years.
2 years
when we get to it.
Yeah, I guess probably. At that point, then I started collecting. Oh, and there were the books around that time. There was Universal Horrors, and there was also a book by Greg Mank called It's Alive. It's
Alive.
Yes. It's right there. It says
right here.
It's Alive Frankenstein. That's what it says on the side. And that's got that's what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
It's got the 8 movies, and so of course I got those all very quickly, and those are the ones that I treasure. So you and I can talk about Dracula and the Spanish Dracula and Son of Dracula and the Mummy movies, and we could do a whole podcast about that. But it's never for me going to be the same.
It's
as
not.
That series.
No. That the Frankensteins have a really special place. Mm-hmm. I think in my heart, certainly in your heart, and I do think they stand above all of the others. I know there's a lot of Wolfman fans. It's a great film, but nothing touches certainly the first 3 Frankensteins, and then the last one.
Yeah.
You see, you came into it at a great time with those books, because the scholarship took a huge leap forward in the late 80s into the 90s. Guys like Tom Weaver, Greg Mank, Philip Riley, all the Magic Image film script books started coming out in the late 80s, where they would reproduce the scripts, the shooting scripts, which I actually just read last night in preparation. So prepare to be bored with all sorts of trivia from that. Yes, when I was a kid, we had, Famous Monsters of Filmland. God love you, Forey, wherever you are, but not the last word in research and information. Very surfacey. Castle of Frankenstein was better. It was a little more in-depth. Marvel put out Monsters of the Movies. Again, a little more in-depth.
I'm not even familiar with that one at all.
Oh, yeah, it was a short run. I think there were like 9 issues or something like that. But one of the first ones I got had a huge article about Young Frankenstein, which was coming out. So, that was the greatest thing ever.
Wow.
Sat through it like 3 times in the theater when you could still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, before they would chase you out. Yeah, you'd sit through multiple showings.
You can still leave and go get a ticket and come back
in. You can, yeah, but you got to pay again.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that Frankenstein, the True Story was a big deal in 1973, November of 73.
I hear.
So you hear. Yeah, I was 8, so,
Yeah.
It was a big deal. It was a 2-part, big budget NBC movie of the week, or weeks, I guess.
Okay.
Had some, good credentials. James Mason is in it. Tom Baker.
Can't believe I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's in it for like 3 minutes at the end. So, but I did talk to him about it.
He's the bride.
Yes, he is. Yes. Yep, it's amazing. He's there's a great scene with, speaking of the bride, that I won't give away, but her demise is for TV movie is pretty cool.
Oh, all right.
So that was a big deal. So yeah, it was just, as I grew up, it was in the air, but the scholarship, you'd get the Scholastic Book Club, Monsters of the Movies or whatever, and very surfacey and often wrong.
Yeah.
Fritz was Igor. Things like that.
Sure.
Shot in Bavaria.
Yeah.
Things like that. It was not.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But you know what? One of the reasons why those things probably worked and still work, I just bought that other thing we talked about the other day. I bought a book. It's
the magazine?
It's the imagery. So just the look of these monsters was so fascinating and something you could stare at for great lengths of time. That's Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Yes, Famous Monsters was great for the photos.
Yeah.
And having the toys. You could have a little,
right.
The little monster models and the toys and stuff.
Never did the models.
Oh, I I still have them.
You still have the original?
Yeah, well, Dracula met a sad end.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to the Hunchback or the creature.
You didn't put Dracula in the light, did you? The sunlight?
Oh, see? Oh, now. That was
the Dracula jokes have started.
That was my big mistake.
Yep. Melted away.
Yeah. So, but, just having them in a tactile way.
Yeah.
Like you've got the Frankenstein figure right here from Sideshow. Just having that, it's I guess akin to sports memorabilia for people that are into that.
Right.
I'm not.
Again, gum. They had gum with those too? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, those shards of gum that'll cut you wide open.
The weapon, the gum knife.
You just wonder how many fatalities the Topps company is responsible for.
Yep. So
yeah. So that's us. That's this.
Us. I do want to say absolutely wanted to make sure to mention where I come to this idea is it's someone else's idea is Star Wars Minute. I have to mention Star Wars Minute.
But okay, yeah.
Just that the idea of dissecting a movie a minute at a time comes from the Star Wars Minute guys. So I want to give a shout out to them. And to all the other people who have done other Minute podcasts. But nobody's attempted this one yet.
Maybe we'll find out there's probably a good reason why.
This might be a crazy thing to do.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
For a spine-tingling, nerve-shattering podcast featuring all your favorite monsters. You won't believe your ears when you listen to Monster Kid Radio. Hear your host, Derek M. Cook, and his ever-rotating stable of guests discuss your favorite classic, and sometimes not-so-classic monster movies. Subscribe to Monster Kid Radio through iTunes or Stitcher, or visit monsterkidradio.net before the next weekly episode of Monster Kid Radio. Go through the archives for interviews with Sarah Karloff, Victoria Price, and Joel Hodgson. Listen to discussions about movies like Creature from the Black Lagoon, Island of Terror, and King Kong. And don't forget convention coverage from Monster Bash and the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. Classic monsters, modern talk, and the head of Rondo Hatton. Only on Monster Kid Radio!